friends amidst nature.
Some fresh heads and a stale
What more could I wish for?
Ever onward.
This seems pretty red, but...
Other reunions, which I was not.
Not even.
A word, if I may.
A familiar sight. Scratch can't quite speak around the thing he has in his mouth.
I found this. It smelled like you, so I kept it. Seemed like something you might like to throw. Oh, I've been so good. I've got a nice home in the city now. A girl named Mindy says I'm her best friend. She's mine too. Also you and Owlbear. I've got so many best friends, I hardly know who to play with. I certainly have, and I always will. Forever, I think. And so will you. You know best, but a little fetch never hurt anyone, as far as I know.
I fear I am becoming accustomed to the taste of some fair plants.
I cannot remember the last time I heard the Ballad of the Endless Spring performed. Now there's a ditty worthy of a
Well
niece.
now. You can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. Your higher form has brought with it some higher manners, then. Ah, how nice to be understood again. I have spent the past months bickering with builders and bankers, all to restore the city exactly as it was. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers, same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon, same cisterns overflowing, huh? Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three. But nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two, if they don't expel her. Again. I suppose I am. I tried to steer them clear of my life's work, but they have chosen it for themselves. There is still much to do. People to house, a Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city, but so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less. For all your travels, I hope you have arrived where you want to be. Home. Whatever that means to you. Ah, sentiment. With the greatest affection, I can think of better ways to sour our stomachs. I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
Ah, my dear friend, it's been an age, has it not? You're looking, well. Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post. Always, my friend. But the villain I must needs slay today is my greatest yet. A deadline. You won't be surprised to find I'm soon to publish a little holiday read about our adventures together. I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form. You might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think? Who says you're the titular hero, Oh, I jest, probably. But believe you me, I couldn't have written a word without you. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you can just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Ah, your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in.
Some fish heads and a stale loaf
Fear
of
I am
bread
becoming
just to get
accustomed
off.
to the taste of sun fed
Happy? Gonna get pets? Gonna play? Gonna live with nice lady? Yes. Miss this. More! Yes. Miss this. More!
Rat. I'd take rat over this any day.
Boo! We are not dreaming! It is our old friend! Oh, and it is good to be seen. Oh, after so many days down in the dark, Minsc began to wonder if he was some blind bug who had only dreamed himself to be large and bulksome. You will forgive the aroma, I hope. We were not expecting the Dusty One to open a portal to our very cell. Boo had a moment to lick himself clean, but there is a little too much of Minsc to cover. Minsc and Boo have been helping, of course. We guard the streets, while Jaheira is occupied with harperish matters. The Zentarum rule the city's underbelly, so Minsc and Boo went to give them a tickle. There were harsh words, battle cries, some manner of head wound. We awoke in a Zentish cell, awaiting trial by noble combat. Execution, says Boo, though I am not sure of the difference. It is a long walk to the gallows, and Minsc still has his fists, no? She told Minsc and Boo to behave themselves, which is why we shall be back in our cell by dawn. But leave such matters for the morn. Tonight is for celebration and the telling of tales. How have you filled your days since we tore this sticky tyrant from the sky? Oh, Boo, do you know what it would mean? To find a cure for Karlach's heart? Exactly! Her heart would be cured! Oh, when this day comes, you must come and bunk with Minsc and Boo. There is much merriment to be made before the night is done. Go, and greet the others. Minsc shall make himself presentable. Ah, this pond shall do nicely, Boo. Though I see no soap. So you shall have to blow the bubbles for me.
You would think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed endless without your company. But now, our paths cross once more. Just as I hoped they would, more like. The Oak Father has been kind to me this past while. Yet I cannot forget the bond we all forged together. It is one that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can, for I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day. I always do. Should I ever decline, assume a doppelganger has taken my place. That was more than worth the wait. Apologies. You can probably understand my eagerness. I shall be as gentle as a feather next time. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing. In that case, very well. Our community grows rapidly. In 6 months, we have turned what was once a shadowy wasteland into a true home for all. In another 6 months, I would wager the scars of the past will be entirely invisible, even to those who remember them. The old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes, and the land is rich with harvests and bountiful trees. Nature and civilization are in harmony, stronger together. My greatest purpose and greatest reward. Those children have been through more than fate had any right to cast at them, and yet they go on as resilient as anything in nature. I impart what knowledge I can to them, yet, in truth, they teach me far more. The land we saved is theirs, and they will cherish it, I'm sure. Thaniel and Oliver shall never want for friends again. You are welcome whenever you like, and for however long you please. Now, please, tell me all, and spare no details. I shall not lie. I have an ulterior motive in wishing to hear all. It is the children, you see. My charges. Their appetite for bedtime tales is greater than I could ever have anticipated. Another story, Daddy Halsin. Another is the chorus that greets me each nightfall. They have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. No mean feat given the lifetime I have lived. I desperately need new material, please. My reputation is at stake. You would ask to be tucked in next. But whatever the intrepid adventurer needed, I would have been glad to provide. I am all ears, though I never cared for that phrase. A rather unsettling image. You have kept yourself busy. I expected no less, in truth. I shall be able to keep the children enthralled for a few more nights yet, thanks to you. And should you wish to retell of your exploits in person, well, I shall not object to a night off. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening, as much as I would like to. I shall leave you to the others for now, unless there was anything else. Quite often. They come and go as they please, but with so many playmates to avail of, they are far from strangers. They ask after you often. What you did for them will never be forgotten. I can see it in the land all around me. But more importantly, I see it in their faces whenever they visit. To make a child smile is to dabble with the power of gods, as far as I'm concerned. On occasion, but I prefer not to interfere. Francesca of the High Forest is Archdruid now, and by all accounts, she has proven to be a steady and wise influence. Even Korga may yet find true balance, thanks to her influence. I spend half my days in Ursine form. The children demand it. I had a score of them taking turns riding upon my back just days ago. I'm glad they are so comfortable with the Oakfather's creations. But they must learn that not all are as amiable as I am. A lesson for another time, though. They deserve some joy. As for roaming, that impulse has dwindled, I must admit. Perhaps because I have found where I am meant to be. As did I, but somehow I feel like I no longer need to roam. That I have found something worthy laying roots for. Amazing what can be discovered about oneself, even at a ripe old age. I was just thinking the very same. I could get used to this. Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like to whittle? I made this. Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. They are migratory birds, of course, traveling far and wide with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company. Just a token to remember me by. Now, I've taken up enough of your time. Go on. Enjoy the festivities. We can speak again later.
My friend, the Hellswalker. For 2 months, Orpheus trained me in the ways of the comet. For 2 more, I skewered Kithraki bellies. And for 2 more yet, I traveled through Limbo. But to see your face, it brings me even more pleasure than taking a Royal Inquisitor's head.
Limbo, she'd said. A plane of chaos where you might drink fire like water, where you might breathe ice instead of air. And the home of the mystical Githzerai. Once the Githzerai were one of the Githyanki, until bloody civil war severed them.
I do. I approach the gates of Shraktalor even now.
Shraktalor. How well you know the name. The capital city of the Githzerai, and the home of their immortal god king, Zerith Menyar Agith.
Our Gish sent word of the rebellion to Minthara Agith through the cosmos. He's agreed to parley. Alliance. I was as surprised as anyone when Orpheus spoke the order. My blade is keen as ever, but it was you who showed me that a proper victory doesn't always require a razor-sharp edge. Sometimes, a sincere plea is more persuasive than a dagger against the neck. Minthara Agith is an ascetic. He reached out in good faith. This is his way. It is in this spirit that I must meet him. And if he refuses, I carry on. Gravity pulls me in but one direction. I am a warrior of the comet. I will not rest until I burn Vlaakith's bones to ash and smash her phylactery to pieces. My people will be free. But you've heard that refrain before. Zealous, bossy, insistent. All part and parcel of my undeniable charm. I suppose it is, rather. I'm just glad to be here at all. It has taken all of Orpheus's efforts to conjure my projection. And all of mine to convince him to let me come. Worth it, I'd say. I miss this place. This... Fey Run. More to the point, I missed you. But I'll be back to see you again when the comet has risen. As surely as Kalir will forever circle the sun.
Hello, darling. I wasn't sure our withered old friend could live up to his promise. But here we are. And look at you. Straight from the hells, still reeking of brimstone. I take it you've been having fun. Understandable, but try to resist the urge. I don't want to know what your clothes have been through since we last met. Although I do like the style. Tortured armor never does go out of fashion. Exactly what I feared. Without the protection of our little friends, I was just an ordinary spawn again. Burning in the sun. I fled the dock and found refuge in the shadows until night fell. Part of me was relieved you left so quickly after the battle. I felt... ashamed. Like I'd lost everything. Just as you claimed your victory. I didn't want you to see me like that. But time lent perspective. It wasn't your victory, it was ours. And for all I'd lost, I'd gained so much more. I had freedom, strength, a whole new life. And it was time to live it. I've taken a turn as an adventurer and hero. It turns out no one actually cares about murder, as long as you murder the right people. And apparently I'm rather good at it. You know me oh so well, don't you? But yes, there's nothing wrong with being rewarded for good work. And when it comes to killing, I do very good work. I did at first, but then I realized these shadows, this darkness, it's all a part of me. I spent too long defined by what other people did to me, the choices other people made for me. But that's over now. This is who I am, in all my glory, for better and for worse. That being said, I haven't completely given up on returning to the sun. If the opportunity presented itself, well, I wouldn't say no. But until then, I am happy. We've had quite the journey, you and I. From the moment I first threatened you, I knew you were someone special. Someone to take on the world with. I will miss our time together. But then again, maybe this isn't goodbye. So much as it's, see you later, darling.
Well, well. Look what the Tressim dragged in. Professor Gale Decarius of Blackstaff Academy. Educator of the esteemed School of Illusion. A pleasure to remake your acquaintance. Well, that was quite lovely. I'm glad you're as pleased to see me as I am you. I have to say, I'm quite grateful to just be Gale for the evening. I fear my students find me somewhat intimidating due to my, explosive former reputation. I seem to put the fear of the gods into them. Or the fear of Mystra, to be more specific. I surrendered the crown of Karsus to her, as I told you I would. And in return, she cured me of the orb at last. Even now, I struggle to put the feelings into words. It was like exhaling for the first time after holding my breath for so very long. Of course, I haven't clarified with my students that the orb is no longer a threat. The legend of my explosive capabilities is an excellent means of controlling a classroom. Too good, if anything. I spend most of my time trying to convince them how much fun the study of magic can be. But it'd be easier to crack a smile on an intellect devourer than some of my pupils. I did. But meeting you, traveling the strangest of roads together, I learned to see myself differently. See the weave differently. In fact, I've actually been considering writing down the story of our adventures. The true tale of our flawed but ultimately endearing troop, and the trials and tribulations we overcame. I can hardly leave it to the likes of Volo to give a true account of our adventures. And no one would believe him if he did.
That odious man truly frizzles my whiskers. Long-haired miniature dragon, he calls me. Tressym is much less of a mouthful.
And what of you? What are you making of this newfound lease of life we earned? And I couldn't be happier for you. A fitting reward for the sacrifices you made in getting here. I've told my students plenty of tales about our escapades. You're something of a hero to them, you know? I'll be delighted to introduce you to my current cohort as a guest lecturer, perhaps. I'm sure they'd have plenty of questions for you. Never fear. My students are as open-minded and generous a bunch as you'll find north of the Chionthar. And I'll remind them of their manners. Of course, you'll be most welcome to stay with me in my tower. My apologies, Tara. That would be our tower. It will give us plenty of time to catch up on your adventures. I'm very curious to know what you've been up to these past months. But I suspect the telling of that tale would keep you tied to me all evening. So, in the spirit of selflessness, I encourage you to mix and mingle for now, with time enough to come.
Oh, right. You. Hello. You helped Mr. Dekarios save Baldur's Gate from the Absolute, isn't that right? And you made significant sacrifices to your well-being by the looks of things. That doesn't sound like him. But whichever way you want to remember it, well done, I suppose. You ought to come visit myself and Gale when you're able. If you can extract yourself from whatever responsibilities mind flayers might have. We'll send word by pigeon when we've need of you. I used to have a taste for them, but a great many things have changed in recent months. Ta-ta, darling.
Peppers has a keen eye for a nice vintage. Why were we
So,
scrounging in
here we are. A gathering of allies at a cold campsite with no servants to attend us and few luxuries to enjoy. Ah, we could have been conquerors. We could have ruled these realms as gods. Do you ever regret that we did not take control of the Netherbrain? Regrets are of little value, unless they are fuel for future victories. Few mortals have stood against gods and monsters as we have, and lived to tell the tale. We can write our own stories now, and leave our mark on these realms. I feared that returning to the Underdark as an apostate of Lolth would be an act of madness. Perhaps it was. If so, it is a madness that fits me well. Rebels swarm to my cause, and even if it takes centuries, I will reclaim my house in Menzoberranzan. And make the Spider Queen bleed. I fear I am becoming accustomed to the taste of sun-fed plants. I expect there have been other reunions to which I was not invited. I expect there have been other reunions to which I was not invited.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. He wasn't kidding. Where's your mad bastard? You brought us back! Commander Zula won't know where the fuck we went! Ha! Oh, man, I can't wait to say hi to everyone. Look at them, the beauts. Rest up, soldier. My tin can will be all right for the night. And you and me will get to sleep with both eyes shut for the first time in 6 months. Then again, maybe we won't sleep at all. Me too, my love. See you soon. Come here, you goon. Oh, hey. Before you go, I've been thinking about those blueprints we found. Zariel's probably got a load of Cambions guarding that forge. I'm sure she knows I'll want in. She'll do anything to stop me from fixing this thing. I might have an in with one of the guards, though. You may remember my old friend Flo. Not sure she'll help us, but maybe. We might get to come home. Permanently. Maybe even sooner than we think.
I am becoming accustomed to the taste of sun.
It smells so good here!
Easy enough.
I would kill for a glass of Ulava wine. Kill for a glass of Ulava wine.
Fleshly support withers its way first in repairing the beast. Hey, no, I not know where he gets it.
I expect there have been other reunions to which I was not invited. I expect there have been other reunions to which I was not invited.
No doubt about it. Engine's cooking hotter here.
I fear I am becoming accustomed to the taste of sun-fed plants.
know some of my favorites. Unless my taste in music is too antique, of course.
Withers has a keen eye for a nice vintage. Why were we scrounging in barrels and crates for supplies when he could source these? God, I remember one evening when we had to eat 14 apples, some fish heads, and a stale loaf of bread just to get by.
Ugh! It smells so good here! Ugh, I could eat a beholder! What's cooking?
Kill for a glass of Ulava wine. I expect there have been other reunions to which I was not. This night shall be done sooner than any of us would like. I hope we meet again. I expect there have been other reunions to which I was not.
Fascinating. Thou hast ventured long with thy comrades, shared food, fire, and friendship, but even such adamantine bonds could not prevent thee from ruining my party. Suddenly, I am most tired. Good day.
What's cooking?
There thou art, the dead three. Thy faces gods, thy actions barely worthy of the name. Didst truly believe thy ploy would succeed? Didst believe I would not notice? Thou soughtst to bolster thy strength by taking away the souls of mortals. But souls vanish when their hosts become mind flayers. Didst think the other gods would not notice? Gods thou may be, yet thou hast proven thyself fools. Everyone. The supplication of Bane, the whimper of Baal, the death mule of Merkel. Felled by mortals. I overestimated thee. They did not. Vermin, away. Thou wilt trouble us no more.
You, a thief, a liar, and a fool. We had an agreement, and you broke it. The crown was supposed to be mine. Instead of delivering it to its true home in the Hells, you allowed Gale to deliver it to Mystra. I should snuff you out and make coin of your soul. But it will be more amusing to let you see the consequences of your actions. Do you really think that the crown is safer in the hands of a goddess than in the claws of a devil? Look to the history of these realms. It is not the devils, but the gods who sunder, wreck, and ruin. It is the gods who instigate each new crisis. It is the gods who almost brought doom to your world. I was merely a witness to their conspiracy. And I would have dealt fairly with you. I cannot say what Mystra will do. Perhaps the crown is a mere trinket to one of her power. Or perhaps it is the key to unlocking some dreadful new potential in her portfolio. Time will tell. As it always does. Look to the heavens and pray for peace. But prepare for a cataclysm.
Goodbye, son. Goodbye, sea. Goodbye. I'm ready. I stand back. I'm going to. It's over. And it's all because of you. You, who were destined to become a thrall. Thanks to you, there will be no Illithid empire, no death god's tyranny. It's over. And it's all because of you. You, who were destined to become a thrall. You, who were destined to become a thrall. Thanks to you, there will be no Illithid empire. You have earned your... You are the same... Since the Netherbrain fell, you have continued to evolve. Thought is action. Action is thought. Speech is difficult. Your mind has voyaged to the limits of existence, communing with entities unique and wondrous. But something always calls it back. Back to Faerun. Back to yourself. Back to the beginning. The time before you became what you are. When your tadpole first sang in your mind. You are back there once again when a voice comes to you. Withers, who you know so well. It is time, he says, to meet with your allies once again. You dream of them often. And now you will see if your dreams have become their reality.
Thou wert called here.
One move ahead. Reunited with friends amidst nature.
Withers can pluck wine
What
from
more
all
could I
over
wish
the world, but is there one bottle of fresh blood?
Starting to wonder if you'd show up. Honestly, so have I. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it? Same. In fact, I found a nice meadow not far from where I live now. Every now and again, I'll spend the night there. For old time's sake. I'm glad you seem well. Truly. Wandering, mostly. The adventuring life is almost a tonic when you're not constantly threatened by brain monsters and cultists. I can finally see the world beyond the cloister. It's a privilege to have memories. Even bad ones. They've molded me into the person I am. As have you. Come to think about it. I can't imagine what would have come of me, had we not crossed paths. Now I'm free to find myself. One of my first stops was the House of the Moon in Waterdeep. It's the largest temple of Selûne in existence. It seemed like the perfect spot to reflect on my parents, on where they came from. And where I came from too, I suppose. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Me, of all people, in the lair of the Moon Witch herself. Gods, your truest act of heroism was putting up with all that char and drivel I was spouting for so long. We had tea on his balcony. Tara even deigned to sit on my lap for a while. You know, I think entire forests must have been felled to quench that man's thirst for books. He seems to be doing well. In his element. Well, I've had run-ins with my former fellow Sharans on a couple of occasions. Word seems to have spread of what happened at the cloister. Now other chapters of Shar worshippers see me as a prime target to offer up to their lady as a sacrifice. Don't worry. I know their tired old tricks better than anyone. They'll need more than a hooded cloak and poison blade to best me. Especially when I have a friend on the inside keeping me abreast of their predictable little plans. You saved the world. That doesn't leave much off the table. But, point taken. I'll be as cautious as a cat with 8 lives spent. I don't know. Which is just the way I like it just now. Perhaps I'll just stick a pin in a map and see what I find, or head to the docks in the morning and scrounge a berth to find somewhere new. I'd like to see the islands, maybe, or head south to Arm. I heard there's an enclave of werecats that hunt the followers of dark gods by moonlight. I'd love to see if there's any truth to that. But enough about me. What have you been up to? Do you ever rest? Think of all those poor, budding adventurers looking to make a name for themselves. Take some time off and give them a chance, why don't you? Hopefully, these meetups will become a regular occurrence. It's not that I miss the tadpoles, but at least it brought us together. Now we've got to make the extra effort ourselves. I'm sure we will, but let's be proactive about it all the same. We're more than capable. After all, we've faced down bigger threats than wrangling together a few social calendars. Don't be a stranger.
I would kill for a bit. There is more to you than I recognized at first, young Raven Guard. I thought you vainglorious and saw your adventures on the frontiers as little more than an excuse to grow your legend. Now you fight in the hells, where there is little to be gained and much to be lost. It is courageous. Or it is foolish. But it is certainly not self-serving. Well, then you are a greater fool than I thought. There is no glory in the hells. But at least you have risen to a greater challenge than slaying goblins and bugbears. You have become a better man than you were. Yes, Will. I am a paragon of virtue. I volunteer at a local orphanage and rehabilitate wounded owlbear cubs. All so that the children and cubs alike can be molded to my purpose, raised in my image, and made willing to die in my name. I feared that returning to the Underdark as an apostate of Lolth would be an act of madness. Perhaps it was. If so, it is a madness that fits me well. Rebels swarm to my cause, and even if it takes centuries, I will reclaim my house in Menzoberranzan. And make the Spider Queen bleed. A gathering of heroes. A fine target for our enemies.
Now there's a face I know well indeed.
It's good to meet again.